Hi everyone, my name is Michelle and I'm Mama Loves You GB here on FlossTube, but also over on Instagram and Etsy as well. Welcome to what is not the Sunday morning briefing, it is a Santa portrait special. I'm filming it now, it is Thursday night, so I'm going to put it out on Friday because I'm going to the Floss Friends retreat this weekend and I am intending to take my Santa portraits with me just to show them off, really. I'm really excited by them. I am really excited by them. So usually with my stitching, I love showing it and I'm very happy to show it, but I've had these portraits sat on top of my fireplace for the last week or so, and every time I look at them I just think they are stunning. And it's not necessarily because of my stitching, it's because of the patterns. The patterns are absolutely gorgeous, and so nobody could fail to make them look amazing, but they just bring a big smile to my face every time I look at them. And I've been stitching them for 12 months, I think I started them for Christmas in July last year, and I stitched sort of 2 and a bit between then and sort of Christmas, with some kind of highfalutin ideas that I might have them finished by Christmas, and then I finished the last 2, or finished the last bits this Christmas in July. But what I wanted to do also is to do like a Santa portraits special edition. So I have been through my stash, I have been through my whips, and I've pulled out everything that is kind of like a Santa portrait. Most of it is going to be going through and picking out some special ones from a series of books, which I will show you towards the end, which if you like Santa portraits, you really need to get your hands on. So here is what we're going to be looking at to begin with. So for the last time, these are the Santa portraits. They are in the 2011 edition, November-December, of Just Cross Stitch magazine. Mine are on paper copy because I bought the CD-ROM. The CD-ROM covers 2011 to 2015. I'll put a picture up there. That's the easiest way to get hold of them, because unless you happen to drop lucky and find a copy of the magazine, it's not one that I think is easy to get hold of in reprint. So there is the Santa portraits. Now I don't think I've ever found the designer of these written anywhere. If I happen to find them, I will write them across the bottom, because we should really credit the designer wherever possible, because they are stunning. So they are stitched on a piece of 28 count fabric that I hand dyed myself. The reason it's 28 count is because the overall size then fitted the frame that I wanted to use. Now the frame I wanted to use was like a window type frame. It looks like an old window frame, but I stitched the Santas individually so that I would have as much kind of control and play over how they sat in the window frame as possible, so that they were all nice and square and all nice and even. So I'm going to show you the finish to begin with, and then I'll give you some information about how I finished it and how I've still got a little bit of finishing left to do. So these are my Santas. I just love them. Love, love, love. And I got to decide which ones I wanted to put in which window and where I wanted them to go. So this frame is available on Amazon. I think it was about £20 maybe, but I absolutely love them in it. It does come in a white version, and I did order the white version as well at one point, but I decided to go with the natural. It's just got some sort of little bits of white paint on them. Now, the fabric, as I said, is a 28 count because it gives you a nice big picture of the Santa in the middle. You could, I suppose, do it on bigger count fabric to make them smaller, but obviously they'd be smaller in the frame. I hand dyed the fabric, and I must admit I didn't realise until I backed them quite how mottled the fabric was, which just makes me love it even more. And I cannot wait to hang this up at Christmas. That is if I manage to put it away between now and Christmas. So let's try this side, see if we can get any better. That's a bit better light, though you've got a bit of a shadow there from the camera stand. I am using a different camera stand today. It's not quite as secure as usual up in this room. So if it goes a bit Blair Witch at any point, then you'll have to forgive me. So you've seen them individually, but let's have a little look at them individually. So this one was the one I stitched first, the Santa with the toy car. And then I stitched the Santa with the pipe, with the meerschaum pipe. Now he is beaded, he does have beads. I started off trying to use a, what do you call it, invisible floss or invisible thread, stitch them on, and then when I ironed him I realised that I hadn't got the correct invisible floss that survives the iron, so I had to rebead him just with ordinary floss. And then I stitched this one, and then this was the last one. Now I have to admit he was probably the quickest of all of them to stitch because I wanted them done and I wanted it all finished. So let's see if we can come back a bit there. Love it, love, love, love. Now I'll show you on the back and I'll show you why I've got a little bit more finishing to do. So I have pinned all of these onto acid-free foam cardboard, and that's how I've done it. And then on the back I've just held the excess fabric down with a little bit of tape. Now this is how I've mounted them, because there is no rebate to mount them. This is just a flat back. So I've secured them into the frame with 2 mirror corners. So these are for fixing mirrors onto the walls, with 2 mirror corners that are screwed into the frame. I obviously couldn't do it on all 4 corners because they would get in the way of one another. So each piece is secured with 2 mirror corners on opposite corners. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to get a complete back to go over the top of this, but I thought I would leave it just so that you can see how I've gone about doing it. You could have laced them, or I could have laced them, but I prefer pinning. I don't enjoy lacing so much, I prefer pinning. So they are all pinned. So when the back is on, all of the Santas will be really nice and secure in their frames and ready to stay with me for every Christmas going forward. I just love them. I just love them. I probably should put them down at some point, but I'm so pleased with them. I really am. As I said, they're such fantastic designs, and all I did was follow the stitches, so anybody could make them look like this. They just look amazing. All stitched with DMC. There's probably, I don't know, 25 colours or so all told across the four designs. So in terms of sort of colours needing more than one colour, you're probably going to need, if you want to do them all, you're probably going to need the white, the reds, 2 skeins of each. But then other than that, I'm pretty sure that it was just, I just used 1 skein of each of the others. I've still got some left. So yeah, the colours that are most prominent, which you could work out, the whites and the reds, you will probably need 2 of. Other than that, you will get away with just 1. So, as I said, I wanted to have a little think about Santa portraits in general, and I pulled out quite a few. So if Santa portraits aren't your thing, then necessarily perhaps the rest of the video is not going to be for you. But I'm very tempted, and I'll put this out here now, to buy another one of these frames because I have other portraits in mind. They're from different places, they're not all of a set, but I do have other portraits in mind. So let's have a look and see what I have grabbed out to talk about. I'll leave that one in there to begin with. So I couldn't talk about Santa portraits and not talk about things like Mill Hill. Now Mill Hill obviously are portraits but in not such great detail, so you can do little ornaments like that. Still a lovely Santa face, just not such great detail. I've got another one here which is, let's see if we can get that in 2 pieces, which is how you stitch it, and then you mount the hat onto the Santa and back him, and then he's ready for the tree. So there's those type of Santa ornaments with Mill Hill. You have also got the sort of full-bodied Santa ornaments as well. And I've got this little pack here that I bought from the Nimble Thimble, and it's all of the Arctic Circle Santas. So they do lots and lots of different Santas, and those are great. Those are great. As Santa portraits go, those are great. We've also got Prairie Schooler. We can't forget Prairie Schooler. You have got a yearly Santa, and I've got lots of them, but I've only ever done this one. It's not quite in the called for colours, it was just in some colours that I fancied. This one particularly, where he's impaling this rabbit. I stitched this one a couple of years ago, and they also do various other kind of Santa portrait type pieces that you can finish however you choose. This is a Brenda Gervais one. This is O Tannenbaum, but you've got a Santa portrait in there. And, oh, was that the other page? There we go. I will put this earlier on as well. I just found the other page of my Santa portraits, and they were designed by Carol Emma. There we go. So I'll put that earlier on as well. Teresa Kogut has got a lot of really lovely Santas as well. I'm going to put some pictures up here, there and everywhere. I have got one on the go, she says, which it looks like I've forgotten to bring in. No, I haven't. There it is. No, it's not ironed. And you'll have seen, I'll put the picture up for the name of this one, because I got this one from the Punch Needle and Primitive Stitcher magazine, and it was then released as a full chart under a different name. So you'll have seen the picture of the full chart. I took it from her Etsy shop. So that's where I am with that one. So she's got lots and lots of Santas with beautiful faces. Absolutely love her Santas. What else have we got? I have got a little freebie as well for a bit later on. Mirabilia. I own 2 Mirabilias, neither of which I have stitched. So this is one of them. This one, oh, the chart's not in there, but that is the front cover. So this is a beautiful Santa portrait. My friend Jenny's been stitching this one, and it looks fab. Just love the face. It's a full coverage Santa, and it is just called Santa by Nora Corbett. And I have got the bead pack in there as well, because as you would imagine with a Mirabilia, it's pretty heavily beaded. So that's another suggestion. What else have we got in here? Twin Peaks. Now Twin Peaks, I'm going to have to do some explaining on this one. Twin Peaks do a Santa, a nice big Santa, most years. Now mine is back to front because I printed my chart in reverse, because the fabric that I want to put him on is this. Which way round does it go? That way. It's a printed fabric with stars on it. So I wanted his lantern that he's carrying to be on the side with the space. As I remember, this is a primitive hair piece, which probably means it's a 30 count if it's her printed fabric. But check out Twin Peak Primitives, they've got some beautiful Santas as well. Now, you can't go far wrong with dimensions either, Dimensions Santa. So let's have a look. I've got a few. This is one that I've already stitched. It's just one of their sort of small, I think it's probably 5x7 or 6x8 maybe. And I can't remember what it's called, but it's a very common one. It's not one that's difficult to find or anything. And I stitched that, it's on 18 count, and I stitched it when I was pregnant with Ness and had a bit of insomnia, so I stitched most of this quite late at night, and I just framed him in a simple frame, and he comes out every year. I've got 2 or 3 others Santas from Dimensions. Now that was a Dimensions gold kit. This one is just a standard Dimensions kit, and it's a stocking. So the difference between the gold kits and the standard kits, this is 14 count Ada, whereas the others will be 18 count Ada. And there's a lot more detail in the gold kits usually. So this one is called, what's it called? Checking His List. And how much have I got done? Probably not a massive amount. Ah, not too bad. More than I thought actually. And then I have this one. So this is called Candy Cane Santa Stocking. So this is one of the 18 count ones. You can get this one as just a rectangular piece as well. It doesn't have to be the stocking version. And I also have this one, ooh, which has just fallen out of the packet. Oops. Oh please. This one's called Secret Santa Stocking, and I love that one. I've seen that one stitched and it looked absolutely amazing. So you can't go far wrong with the Dimensions Santa either. They look fabulous, fabulous, fabulous. And I also have this one. Now this one I know is out of print, and I had to pay up for this one. Not a huge amount, but it was more than retail. But this is called Santa's Nap, and I loved it because it's got a little Dalmatian on it. I haven't started it yet, obviously, but I just loved it. Love, love, love. You just can't beat a good Santa face. And that's what it is. It's the face. If the face is right, then it makes it a brilliant Santa. I also pulled out as a little one, Kringle and Woolard by Plum Street Samplers. Just a little Santa there because I quite liked his face too. I think it's, for me, it's something to do with the cheeks. If the Santa's got nice rosy cheeks, then I'm a sucker. This one is by, I think it's Marejka. I'm not great at pronunciation, but I think it's Marejka. And has it got a name on it? Magical Journey. There we go. Written in large underneath your finger, Michelle. Magical Journey. And this one is on a pale blue Ada, which looks like 16 count. There we go. I would probably change it just because I don't personally enjoy stitching on Ada. I find it really hard to stitch in hand on Ada. I would rather swap it for an even weave. So those are the kind of kit things that I have found. This is a freebie. This is by Brookes Books, and I picked these out because of the kind of realism, the cheeky face Santa, a bit more than a kind of cartoony Santa. So sticking with the Santa portraits theme, I picked this one out as a freebie. So I will put that as the link down below. Now, if you're serious about some Santa stitching, you would do well to get hold of some of the Leisure Arts books. Now you can pick them up usually quite easily on eBay, and sometimes Amazon have them. Now I have selected some. We'll have to just see how we get on. Feel free to pause and get a brew at any point. So let's have a little look and see what we've got. I'll try and show you what the book is called, and then any Santas that I have picked out. Now I haven't picked out every Santa from every book, because some of them, it's mostly when they're pictured with children. They're very good at doing Santas, but not necessarily great at children. And it looks like Santa's just walked away from a collapsed child, if I'm honest. So this is the first one, Santa Remembered. So what have I picked out from here? So this book has a lot of Santas which are kind of taken from advertising and older postcards and pictures. This one I've just done. Those children don't look too bad. They at least look like they're alive. Now, one of the things that I think the Leisure Arts do is some brilliant Santas with companions. I've got ones to show you later on with a polar bear, with a donkey, that's the donkey, with an owl. You won't go wrong with these. And I really would like to have a really good look and pick out 4 and maybe do another window. Now, I like this one. I've stitched another Santa with an umbrella, and I'll show you him, but I might re-stitch him, and I'll explain why when I show you him. It's an Americana Santa. There. So this one's called Once Upon a Christmas Time. So they basically brought out one of these books every year. So if you just search Leisure Arts Christmas, they generally come up. Just a couple in that one. This one's called Oh Christmas Tree. As I said, there's loads and loads of other charts in these. I am just really focusing in on just the Santas. It looks beautiful on the black background there. And this one's going to be really hard to see because he's in the crook of a page, but it's a Santa face tipping out lots of apples and oranges for the stockings. Now, the best part is his face, which is, as I say, right in the crook of the page, unfortunately. Santa Claus, an American Treasure. Now this one, this is the Millennium Edition. Fancy. Okay. There you go. I'm going to save that one for last because that's the best one. If there's one book, if you're going to get one book, there's one really good one to get. Timeless Ornaments. I think there's just one in this one. And I really liked those Santas actually with the long beards that form the bottom of the stockings. I thought they were lovely. Merry Christmas, ABC. Now I don't have all of these books. I think I've got most of them, but I haven't got them all. Now this is one of my favourites. This is one that I really do want to do. I've seen it stitched on normal kind of 18 count, 36 count, and it obviously brings it much smaller, but I really like that one with the holly background. Santa sat on an old settle. Now this I think is going to be my project for next year. Now that the Santas, the portraits are done, I really want to make this. Now I made one of the reindeer once, but I actually sent it to Michelle McGraw because I'd done it on Ada and I knew that I didn't want to stitch them all on Ada for exactly the reason I just mentioned. I find it really hard to stitch in hand on Ada. So I decided to send it to her, and then I'm going to start again with the reindeer on either linen or even weave. Down Santa Claus Lane. There he is, climbing out of the chimney. I liked his face. I really liked his face actually. I thought he was nice. I like that one too, but not on the green background. I think I'd choose a different colour. Ooh, which side we go? That side? Another one with a weird child in it. Is that the same one? I think that might be the same one. I just pegged it twice. Santa with the corn. Sorry, I realise I'm going through some of these quite fast. You might just have to pause if there's one that you really like. And I liked that Santa, but it's really hard to see his hat because somebody stitched it on a red jumper, as they did back in the 80s and the 90s. But there was another one in there, but it must be in a different one. Christmas portraits. Clues in the name, clues in the name. Now this is the one and only Black Santa that I have seen in these books, but they tend to use 3 or 4 skin tone colours, and if you go on to the Lord Libidan site, on there is suggested DMC colours for lots of different skin tones, so you could easily change any of the Santas if you wanted to. I love that one. I really love that one. And I like that one, the way he's up on the rooftops there. And with his reindeer. Look at that one, how majestic is that reindeer? And then this one is Christmas keepsakes. Can you see I started off really well with my post-it notes, and then when I realised that I had more, I went to tearing post-it notes. We all start with good intentions, don't we? What's that poking out of there? Ooh. No, that was in there. Sorry, I should probably just tell you what I've just gone ooh at. I didn't realise that in the back of this one there were some stickers. This one. I liked that Santa. In fact, I quite like all of those little stockings actually. I think they're really sweet. This one. Now, a lot of these have got quite a lot of heavy kind of black backstitch to them, but you don't have to do the backstitch in black. You can do it in one of the darkest tones of the red, and so you'll get a definition, but you just won't get that almost like outlined definition. So that's the last 2 from there. But if you're going to get one book to end them all, this is the one you want to get. Santa's Great Book. So this is Leisure Art's best Santas, they think. So let me see whether I've managed to pull out any of the same ones. Now, I love this Santa. Horses generally aren't my thing, but I really like that Santa on the horse. And I really like him with his polar bear too. Super, super. Now this is the owl. which I think is great. I could do a set of 4 actually, all with animals, couldn't I? So what have we had? We've had an owl, we've had a reindeer, a couple of reindeer, a polar bear. This is a nice one. Just Santa and a snowy scene. Santa with his wheelbarrow. And then Santa with his umbrella, so that's the other umbrella. And I also like that one as well, him stepping up in the chimney. Now the Santa with the yellow umbrella I have actually stitched, and I stitched it onto a piece of kind of like tweedy type fabric, and I wish I'd never done it. I wish I'd never done it on the tweedy fabric, because I had to use some of that and he said like wash and go Aida, but what do they call it, dissolvable, soluble Aida, on the top of it, and it nearly killed me. And as such, my stitches aren't that nice, and I'd really like to do them again, I think, and maybe pair him up with the Santa with the blue umbrella too. So yeah, there's those 2. And then couple more, and then we shall all be Santa'd out. I really like this one. This is Prairie Santa on a cow. How fabulous is he? I love his check shirt, I love the cow, I love the rake sort of fork thing. He's got a cat on there as well. Absolutely amazing. And then the last one is that one. Try that again. Is that one that I'd picked out there. So I haven't covered them all. I have not covered everybody that has got a really excellent Santa. And if you know of one, please put them down below. I'm sure I've missed several really great Santa designers. But it's just, I wanted to do something specific about Santa portraits. Those Santas that are just perhaps a little bit more than, more than your average, just a little bit special. And I hope you will agree that I think these are just a little bit special. So I will see you next week. For me, this brings Christmas in July to a close, although I have really enjoyed stitching Christmas, and I think I'll probably keep up with it for just a little bit longer. Anyway, I shall see you next week. Stay classy, stitchers.